Total Quality Management, or TQM, is a philosophy based on three pillars. First is the involvement of everyone in the organization for quality. Second is the continuous improvement. Third is achievement of customer satisfaction. The total quality management enjoyed widespread attention during the late 1980s and 1990s before actually it was overshadowed by ISO 9000 and lean manufacturing and also Six Sigma. A lot of companies have applied and followed TQM and have gained the result of it, the positive result of it, including the Ford, Toyota, and ExxonMobil. The TQM approach is as follows. First, you need to find out what the customer wants. The customer expectation and figuring out what they want is very important because that's the core principle of quality, meeting or exceeding the expectation of customers. Also, the perceived quality is important. Second, design a product or a service that would meet or exceed customer wants and expectation. Third, design processes that would facilitate doing the job right the first time. Fourth, keep track of the results. Fifth, extend these concepts throughout the supply chain in all parts of your organization. Six, top management must be involved and committed too. Let's now dig deeper into TQM. TQM elements are as follows. The first is continuous improvement. That's a philosophy that wants to improve all factors involved in quality in an ongoing basis. The Japanese use the term Kaizen to refer to the continuous improvement. Continuous improvement became actually popular after the success of Japanese companies that followed the Kaizen or continuous improvement. Next is competitive benchmarking. This means in identifying other businesses and other organizations that are best at what they do. For this, actually, you have to find those businesses and organizations that are in the same business line as your business is. For example, Xerox used the mail order company LL Bean to benchmark order filing because they were successful. The next element is employee empowerment. That means giving workers the responsibility for improvement and giving them the authority to make changes to accomplish what they want. Because workers on the floor, they actually know best about the product and the process than the manager at the top. The next element is team approach. Team approach is to use teams for problem solving and to achieve goals and consensus and take advantage of group synergy, gets other people, all people actually involved, and to promote a spirit of cooperation and shared values among employees. The next element is evidence-based decision making. That's making decision based on fact, not opinion. The next element is knowledge of tools. That is training members of employees and workers in using of quality control tools to improve quality in the organization. Next is Supplier quality. It would make sense to consider to improve the quality of the product, the raw material, the first actually input into your production facility that you want to build on and you want to work on to get the final product, that must be also a high quality. So involving the supplier would actually be important. Suppliers must also be involved in quality assurance and quality improvement efforts so that their processes are capable of delivering the quality parts and materials in a timely manner for your organization to start manufacturing. Next is TQM champion. A TQM champion job is to promote the value and importance of the total quality management principles, the TQM principles, throughout the whole company. The next element is quality at the source. It means each worker is responsible for quality. The idea of this philosophy is to do the right thing the first time. Workers are expected to provide goods or provide services that would meet the expectation of the customers and to find corrections if necessary. Next is collaboration and cooperations, or collaborative and cooperative relationship with supplier throughout the whole organization or the business. As we mentioned, continuous improvement is one of the pillars of TQM, and that's the philosophy that seeks to make never-ending, continuous improvement the process of converting or whatever operations you perform. Japanese call it Kaizen, and you see here in Japanese language Kaizen. Kai means change, and Zen means good. The other element that we mentioned is the quality at the source, and that's the philosophy of making each worker and employee responsible for the quality of his or her job and work. So that's do it the right way, and if it's not correct, fix it. Obstacles to implementing the TQM philosophy. These are include, for example, lack of company-wide definition of what quality is throughout the organization, and for example, lack of a strategic plan for change and improving the quality, or lack of customer focused and finding the expectation of the customers and what they want, or poor inter-organizational communication, or lack of employee empowerment and engagement, or the viewing of quality as a quick fix instead of a whole and a true work and change, or emphasizing on short-term financial results, because applying quality and quality control and improving quality throughout the organization is a time consuming and also costly process. So if the organization only focuses in short term, they're only going to see the cost. So they're going to they want to avoid it. But in the long term, high quality product or quality would actually pay off with larger market share, with customers that would actually stick around and would not leave you for another competitor product. Another potential obstacle is inordinate presence of internal politics or tariff issues that would uh, make it difficult to implement TQM or make it impossible. Or it could be the lack of a strong motivation among the top management or any other part of organization, but especially the top management. Or it could be due to lack of time to devote to quality initiatives and plan and apply and implement the changes. Or it could be due to lack of leadership. Six Sigma is a technique and a tool for improving quality, reducing costs, and increasing customer satisfaction. It was introduced by Motorola, um, and in 2005, Motorola actually attributed $17 billion in savings to Six Sigma. By late 1990s, about two-thirds of Fortune 500 companies had adopted Six Sigma because it became so popular and so uh, productive and effective. The idea behind Six Sigma is a statistics idea, and we're going to talk about it more. And that means gaining and having a level of quality for your system such that if you produce a million product, you should not have more than 3 point defects um, out of a million. So the range of error that you could have to be acceptable for Six Sigma is 3.4 out of a million. Six Sigma is a business process for improving quality, reducing costs, and increasing customer satisfaction. Statistically, it means having no more than 3.4 defects per million. That's 0.000034 defects rate. Or equivalently, that's 99.99966% accuracy rate. Conceptually, Six Sigma is a program that is designed to reduce defects, and it would require the use of certain tools and techniques to achieve its goal. The principles for Six Sigma is to reduce in variation, the variation level, which means reducing the variation so that you would have no more than 3.4 defects per million. That's an important and also difficult job and goal to achieve. The methodology that is used in Six Sigma is based on statistics, and so it's data driven. So it requires data validation, and that means outputs are determined by inputs. Only a critical few inputs in Six Sigma have a significant impact on the inputs. So out of the factors that would impact and would affect the quality of the final product, only a critical um, few of them actually have critical roles and significant impact. So we need to figure those out. We need to find and identify those that have significant impact. You can summarize the process for Six Sigma into these codes that we have here. It's called DMAIC. D stands for define. So you need to set the context and the objectives for improvement. What do you want to achieve? What is your goal? After that, you need to measure and determine the baseline performance and the capability of the process. Next is analyze. You need to use the data and the tools to understand the cause and effect relationship of the processes to figure out those critical few inputs that would have significant impact on the outputs. Next is improvement. I stands for improvement. So that's developing the modification that would lead to a validated improvement of the process. And C in the make stands for control. That's to establish plans and procedures to ensure that improvements are sustained. Let's see what is the improvement process. That's a systematic approach to improving a process. So it starts with mapping the process. You need to know what processes do you have, where they are, and what they are. So for that, you need to collect information and data about the processes and identify each step and each operation in the process. And then prepare a flowchart that would accurately depict the process. Next step is to analyze the processes. Ask critical questions about the process, what they do, what are the inputs, what are the outputs, how does it work, and etc. And then ask specific questions about each step in the process. And after that, the next step for improvement is redesigning the process so that you would achieve the level of quality that you want. High quality, which is for Six Sigma. It's again 3 point, not having more than 3.4 out of a million product. So you need to redesign the processes to achieve that level of quality assurance. Here you can see some basic quality tools to for actually implementing the Six Sigma. So that's actually mapping the processes and understanding and studying the processes, what they do, and also figuring out the processes that have critical rules, and coming up with a tool that would help you to identify the errors and make a correction if necessary. So starting with the flow chart that you see at the very top, that's actually the processes. What are the inputs? Where does it go, the processes? Where is the decision making? So you can actually map all the processes into this chart that you see here. And the arrows stands when it goes out, that stands for the flow. Going in or going out, it stands for flow of information, either or the product into in these processes of or chains of processes. Next, you have a check sheet, as you see here. So that's a very simple, basic tool that you can use to collect information, or you can use a more well-known and popular statistics tool, such as the histogram or a Pareto chart or a scatter diagram. Then we have the control chart that's going to help you to identify if you have a process, if the process is actually out of control and needs to be fixed, which works based on its statistics. It has a lower bound that you see here and an upper bound. So this is the lower bound here, and this is the upper bound, and there is the center here. So if the process is, and these are the dots here are the information that you gather through time. So if these one of these lines, if one of these points, for example, which stands for a sample, is getting out of these lower bound and upper bound, that's the point that is a red flag for you that the process is out of control or needs to be fixed and needs to be corrected. Also, the last one is the cause and effect diagram that you can actually use to study the processes to figure out, okay, which process is the cause and effect diagram, which process is going to cause what actually problem, and what would be the effect. So these are very simple but very powerful tools that can be used in quality control and quality management.